Hello, welcome back to another edition of the I'm Always Right Sports Podcast. I'm your host, as always, the mouth of Michigan, Ron Bedecker. With me, as always, my co-host, the Merc Zone, Mike Merkel.
Yes.
And our Michigan man, Kyle Budzanowski. Guys, how we doing?
Good.
Fantastic.
I sound really depressed already.
I know, you sound so depressed.
Fantastic.
I'm trying to figure out my fantasy lineup.
Yeah.
Giants defense, anyone?
No. Guys, we have so much to go over today. We've got the Lions-Packers debacle from Monday night. We've got the World Series matchup is officially set. We're going to get ahead of that. We're going to talk Michigan-Penn State and Kyle's demise. We're going to talk the new California state law that's going to allow college athletes to finally get paid for their endorsements. Hopefully that means maybe NCAA comes back. Who knows? You never know. You never know. And we're going to talk NFL trade deadline. A whole bunch of good stuff coming at you. Let's just jump right into it. The Lions-Packers. Lions lose 23-22 to the Packers on Monday Night Football. A lot of people have had their say. A lot of people have gone out and said the Lions had their chances. Lions this, Lions that, whatever. But at the same time, there's also about 4 or 5 calls that people are also talking about. The officiating, I don't think, has ever been worse in the league as a whole. Starting this season, we saw it earlier in the year. We've seen it now. A lot of guys. I know Baker was complaining this week. I know Clay Matthews had chimed in. They both got fined.
Tracy got fined.
Yeah, Tracy got fined as well. Which doesn't help anybody. Doesn't help the media whatsoever because it's like now I have no incentive to talk if you're going to fine me for thinking everything I say. But before I go off on a flippin' rant. Mike,
I'm going to be on the other side of Robin this one.
Thoughts on the game? I figured you would be. That's why I want to wait. So go ahead.
I do see, and I will start by saying, I think the calls are egregious.
Yes.
I 100% agree.
Yep.
There's a lot wrong with it. I will give slight to Bakhtiari, the left tackle that got Bakhtiari who got called for it because he went to the officials on a play that actually happened and it wasn't called and went, he's doing this over and over again.
Right.
And so I can almost see why it happened, but not twice in critical moments.
Right.
I don't I'm not defending the refs. I just say that's probably why it happened. But I look at it and I go, it's like.
Let me preface by saying this: I'm less mad about the outcome of the game. My take is a little bit different from just because the Lions lost.
See,
so I'm prefacing my argument just so you're aware.
Well, I don't know if it's an argument. Right? I will say because I'm always in the agreement of, when the Rams and Saints game happened, and I go, you still have time to win the game.
Right. No doubt.
That's always my thing is if you get possessions and you have time to win the game, you can't complain about the officiating. Yes. I will say. I'm okay with every call, but the very last one, because you didn't have an opportunity to get the ball back, that one's a big killer for me.
Right, because it forces the Packers to kick a field goal and with a minute left on the clock.
Exactly.
Right.
So that's the one, I can say the defensive pass interference should have been called, but you still had one more play or you could have continued the drive. The first one resulted in a touchdown, but you got the ball back, so you should have went down the field and scored.
But I will say that if you stop that, I was even more pissed about the hands because you kick a field goal and then they get the ball back, then you don't know, right? So
I'm just saying, you could have made a defensive stop there too. You said plays and they scored. So I'm just saying, there's just like so many opportunities there where you can either stop them or you can go down the field and score.
For sure.
I think the last one is a killer for me just because of that. Because I've always been, all the other ones that people are putting these highlight reels together and all the Lions losses, the one that sticks out is the Falcons one. I think that's the biggest screw job where you just kind of take 10 seconds off the clock down at the inch line and you have no time to come back. You have nothing you can do.
Right.
Every other one, you still have the ball. You still can do stuff with it.
Right.
So the officiating was bad. I do think the Lions had chances to win. I think there were a lot of stuff early that they could have capitalized on.
Right.
Having 12 guys on the defense when they're kicking a field goal, which results in a touchdown afterwards, is not good. Going into the muffing a punt their own 20-yard line and then just kicking a field goal out of it when you should have scored is something you can look at. If they would have just scored one touchdown out of those 5 field goals, you're talking about a completely different game.
Right.
But I would say the last call for me is the one that hurts the most. But I think it's a very winnable game that you kind of just slipped out a little bit.
All right, here's the deal. All right, so here's my take on it, right? I agree with you in the fact that they should have scored more points, right? But I don't think a team should be penalized because they kick a field goal, right? I don't like that to me. That argument to me, I'm just taking, right? And we've heard this, from other mainstream media, right? I know 97.1 gave them the business about it, but here's the situation, right? when officiating takes the game out of your hands at that point in time, that's the problem I have. Mm-hmm. Even if the Lions come away with that win, right? Say Crosby shanks the field goal, we still come away with a win, right? The problem is not whether we won or lost the game. I know for some people that is. That's not the way I'm looking at this. The way I'm looking at this is the fact that, once again, we're not talking about the game. We're not talking about how the Lions defense couldn't get a stop. We're not talking about the fact they didn't score. We're talking about the fact that, once again, we have numerous calls that are completely and utterly wrong. Completely missed.
Yes.
I mean, you can go to the hands in the face the first time. You can go to the hands in the face the second time. You can go to the pass interference on Marvin Jones. You can go to 13 men on the field for the Packers on a drive after we get called for 12 men on the field. Mm-hmm. There's so many things that you can go to, right? I mean, that obviously these are just the highlighted ones, but and I get it. There's a penalty in every play, but it seems to be where, once again, officiating is taking over these football games and are ruining the NFL product. Mm-hmm. And that's the part that I'm most pissed off about. It's not, I get it, Lions have lost the Packers for years, all right? That's not my concern. My concern is the fact that now we have this argument saying, well, the Lions didn't play good enough to win. I beg to differ. I think they did play good enough to win. You cannot punish a team just because they kick a field goal, because if those calls don't get called or they go the other way, they win the football game. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I know, and I get what you're saying. They had chances to put it in the end zone. Yeah. Totally agree with you on that. And I'm not going to say they played a perfect game. The 12 men on the field, obviously terrible, right? I think Bonamango should be fired. Should have been fired 3 weeks ago. But, you know what I mean? There are things that they could have corrected. Absolutely. But to come on the air, and this is a direct shot at anybody, Valeni, any of those schmucks, who all they do is they try to badmouth the teams because they get clicks and they get views based off badmouthing the team. I'm not about that. I'm going to judge the team fairly. I've been very critical of Michigan this entire year, even though I'm a fan of Michigan. But the fact that games are now being won and lost based off of calls from the referee and outside of the realm of just making a play, that is the problem I have, and we're continuously seeing it, and it's really hard for me at this point to not say at some point there is a bias or that there is some sort of skewed metric towards premier elite players. Because we're seeing it, we've seen it against Dallas, we've seen it against Green Bay, we see it with Brady, and we're all Brady fans here on this team, right? So the fact that you see these things, you see shots to the head, you see all of these things happen, and if you are not on a premier cornerstone franchise, you are not the guy, you are not a Super Bowl winning player, right? It seems to be where, why is it always that the team that's always like, why is it always Cleveland? Why is it always Detroit? Why is it always, you know what I mean? Why is it these teams that never can seem to get over the hump? Why is it these teams that are affected the most out of it rather than, you know what I mean? Like, rather than the Packers, rather than New England, rather than New York, rather than name a premier franchise that everybody gets behind. You know what I mean? I'm just so tired of having these games be decided based off of poor officiating, based off the fact that, well, shoot, I mean, you know, it is the Packers, so, you know, everyone's just fine because we're going to screw over Cleveland or we're going to screw over whoever. You know what I mean? That's the part for me where you take away from a good football game and now you completely put it in controversy. So now you've completely flipped it, and now this week when the Lions play Minnesota, they lose to Minnesota, it's almost guaranteed they're not making the playoffs. You know what I mean? I'm just really tired of officiating taking games out of taking the result and putting it in their hands rather than letting the teams make the decision on their own.
No, I agree with that. But I would also say that if you ask, like, Packers fans, I think they have their fair share of bad calls go against them, too.
Where?
You had Clay Matthews calls 2 games last year because of roughing the passer.
No, and that's fine. And that's fine.
You had the catch by Golden Tate against Seattle a couple years ago that one ref was like touchdown, the other one was no. They talked about, we'll give it to Seattle. Like, Dallas had the Des Bryant catch in a playoff game where it was easily a catch and it's overturned. I think you can ask almost any, I think actually one thing I will say, I don't think the Patriots have as many as other teams. Mm-hmm. I think that's the one exception to this rule, I would say. Mm-hmm. But I think every other franchise you can look around and you can point out certain scenarios that it does
I just think that I'm tired of seeing games be taken away based off of a call. That's my fundamental focus. I'm tired of seeing Aaron Rodgers look at the ref every time there's an incomplete pass. I'm tired of seeing Brady every time he gets touched, there's a flag thrown. I'm tired of seeing, you know what I mean? Like even like guys like Drew Brees don't get benefits of these calls, which astounds me. You know what I mean? I'm just really tired of seeing officiating continuously completely transform a game based off of 3 or 4 calls that are completely and utterly wrong.
Yeah.
Completely wrong. You know what I mean? And like the pass interference call, everyone claims that Patricia Challenge bad. There's been 4 overturned pass interference calls. That wouldn't have been
overturned. I can't say it would have been.
Right, exactly.
I honestly, and he raced him across. To me, I went, there's not enough to be a pass interference.
Because to me, the definition of pass interference is it hinders the ability for the receiver to get the ball. That's what that is.
But when I watched it, I was like, I don't even know if
and that's
did it hinder he had to just drop it.
And that's fine. But it's like the carry-on touchdown run. One referee is singling Packer ball, and the other referee is singling touchdown. That can't happen.
See, at that point, I went, this game's going to be screwed up by officiating.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Because as we're all Lions fans, I was like, that's not a touchdown. There's no way he got it.
Oh, I saw the touchdown.
There was a side view that the ball never crossed the plane.
I like the sky cam where you could see
the sky cam. It was funny because the sky cam shows he gets over, and then the side view, he's like backing in, and the ball never crosses. And I'm like, I don't think he got it. I think if the call wasn't a touchdown, I don't think he gets it. I don't think. Or no, did they overturn it? Because I don't think.
No, they called it a touchdown.
They called it a touchdown.
Yeah.
And
then they reviewed it first
or whatever.
Right, yeah.
But like, I was like, if they called it not a touchdown, I don't think they overturn it because I don't think there's enough.
Right.
But anyway,
But my point being, right, is that how as a crew, right, as a refereeing crew.
Yeah.
Right. That's the problem I have is that you see it in that kind of stuff too, where you go. What is happening right now? You know what I mean? And then on national television too, I think it's something that's kind of underrated with this. When people go, it's so transparent and it's so blatant in a lot of regard, right? Mm-hmm. I just feel like this pass interference rule disaster. That's number 1. I think it's gonna be gone. And 2, you're almost getting to a point with this poor officiating that you're almost gonna have to put a rule in where coaches can challenge anything.
Yeah.
I think you're going to get, and it's going to slow the game down. It's going to make the game way worse. And I think you're going to get to a point where nothing is called.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where you're going to see another Rams-Saints incident, maybe not as egregious where a guy just kills him.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Where you're going to hinder the game just based off of the fact that you don't want to affect the game. So you're going to no longer call anything.
I think it's funny that it was put like that because I think they were nervous about not calling enough, so they called too much.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. It's almost adversely affecting.
Yeah,
right.
Like they were like, man, like we're getting all these, like everyone's getting mad at all these no calls that are happening. So like, all right, we're gonna just call everything.
Right.
And now you're calling everything, and people are getting mad. So now I think it's almost like refs are like, what do you want from us? Like, do you want us not to call it or to call it?
Right.
And like,
and that's what I'm saying. Like with like a hands to the face, right? Because it can't be reviewed. And you know what I mean. Like that costs the Lions theoretically, right? If they get those stops, the defense does their job. They got 2 stops. That's 6 points instead of 14 points.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So those games, that affects things. You know what I mean? I'm just really here's the thing. The Packers go out, they beat the Lions, whatever, right? I'm pissed about it because they lost the game. But I'm not going to be pissed because I think, okay, you played well enough to win the game, and yet you've got these massive swings based off of calls that when you look back at it, you go, oh my gosh, how do you you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those are the things that frustrate me. Kyle, I'm going to ask you the same question. I mean, where's your take? Where are you sitting at? Where's your line at? Because I'm at the point now where it's hard for me to even watch NFL football because it's like, how is this going to be messed up at this point? Like, if the Lions beat the Vikings today, right, and there's any sort of like controversy at all, people are going to go, well, we got to make up for it because the Lions got screwed on Monday night. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's immediately going to be the story. Now, the Lions could win 28-0, and I guarantee you that would still be the narrative. You know what I mean? So where is the line for you? Is it you're just gonna watch because it's the NFL, it's this juggernaut of a thing, you know, which is what I'm gonna wind up doing. But the point being is the frustration and the lack of good product being put on the field now, it is severely hampering my enjoyment for watching NFL football, just as a whole. Not just as a Lions fan. I'm already in pain for that. But, you know, that's whatever. That's a self-inflicted abuse. I'm not going to take the poor officiating now affecting big games because, well, just 'cause, and it's fine. We're not a major market, so who gives a crap?
Yeah, well, so I mean, everyone's gonna watch
Yeah.
NFL because it's the NFL,
Right.
But
We're gonna watch the XFL.
That's what I was gonna say. Just watch the XFL.
I mean, you could. I don't
Landry Jones, huh?
know. Connor Cook.
He's not even starting.
Not even starting. Okay, never mind. But at least with the Lions and the Packers, the thing is, obviously you have the poor officiating that I think will eventually get better over time. I think some things just take its course, and I think once we'll have people complaining, it'll go from the players to GMs, coaches, blah blah blah. I think that'll fix itself. My problem is if you're a team like the Lions and you're playing the Packers, I feel like regardless of the calls you get, I feel like you should not put yourself in a position that a call will affect the game.
Yeah.
If you're like, okay, if the hands and face, but you should be up by 30.
No, but my point to that is, right, is that they did put themselves in position to win. If those calls aren't made, it is a 8-point swing. Immediately, right there, like whatever, right? They score right after that. I understand that. The 12 men on the field, I get. And should they have punched the ball in more? Absolutely. Red zone offense, huge issue.
I think they should have just went for it more.
Absolutely.
Because you play. It's not like you're playing like the Giants.
No, I get it.
I can kick 3 field goals and probably win it.
Yeah.
Like when you know you're playing the Packers.
No doubt.
I'd rather take the 50-50 of getting 7 than almost 100.
But the way the rest of that game goes, they still won. They still had the game.
Yeah.
Right. With everything else, they stopped the Packers enough, including those 2 drives. Defense did their job, and yet they forced some turnovers, did everything they were supposed to do. And yet they come away with a loss because of that. You know what I mean? That's my frustration with it. You know what I mean? It's when you can point to plays and you go, well, there it is, right there, and there it is, right there. You know what I mean? It's like, and it would be, and honestly, I'm not gonna lie, right? If the Lions won, I don't know if this would be as big of an issue for me. I'm man enough to admit that. But once again, if you are any fan base, right, I think that you should be clearly upset with the fact that games are being decided without you doing anything.
Yeah.
That is my primary objective here. Lions win, lose, whatever. It's fine. They haven't won anything in 50 years. But when something is so clearly taking the game out of the Lions' hands, out of the Packers' hands, right? With the Clay Matthews call, it's a great example. And you're just saying, well, he touched the quarterback.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
And it needs to be changed. I don't know what they need to do. I don't know if maybe they need to hire full-time refs. I don't know if they need to give them a raise. I don't know what the deal is. All I know is that this is ridiculous, and it's starting to piss me off because I'm like, and you're right. Everybody's got a gripe, at some point or another. But it costs the Saints a chance to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Straight up. I mean, I got the ball. They got the ball back. I get it. But if that call is made, the game's over. It's that simple.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just, oh Lord. It's like a therapy session for me. It just frustrates me, and then I get to hear all week on Detroit media how the Lions are just garbage and everything else like that. They don't, and it's the easy narrative to take.
See, I've heard only inverse. I've heard still we don't know what this team is because
from Detroit media only.
No,
just from Detroit media.
Yeah, only Detroit media.
Oh God, I just think they just take pleasure and think, oh, there's something.
I think you were listening to the Raw 97 one, and maybe it's just Villani, but everyone else on it was mad about the officiating.
Well, I only listen to Villani because Villani is the only one who tries to claim that he gives and offers a fair opinion of both sides, and they don't do that. It's a completely negative thing, and if he hears this, he won't, and I'm fine with that. But I'm just really tired of it being, well, the Lions should have just done more because they should have done more. But if you watch the game, they were in control, and then the control gets ripped out of your hands by something that you did not do. Then it's not like it's close, where he touches the helmet, then he comes back. It's not like the face mask from a couple years ago, right? He doesn't do it. There's no penalty inflicted there. You know what I mean? That's my primary focus. So it's just very frustrating. I'm very interested to see this week's games, honestly. I didn't get to watch Thursday night game. Did you watch Thursday night's game at all?
A little bit.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. I didn't get to see if there was any.
They were so far
more hesitance.
They were so far ahead.
That's kind of right. It was more about the Mahomes injury than anything else. But all right, I'm gonna get off my soapbox now. Let's talk the NFL trade deadline now. Jalen Ramsey, officially a Ram. Marcus Peters was a Ram. Now he's a Baltimore Raven. Vic Beasley Jr. looks like he's on the trade block still. I don't know if that's going to be a thing. But the biggest one, obviously, is Ramsey. We talked about this on the show, if they should, or if the Lions should kind of be in that play. Kenyon Drake looks to be on the trade block. Obviously, that's, the Lions are apparently one of the teams that have called about him. I don't know how you guys feel about that one necessarily, but,
God, we need another running back.
Yeah, I know, right? We've only signed all of them and released them all within the span of about 3 months. But thoughts, Kyle, on the Jalen Ramsey trade going to the Rams, knowing he can only be there theoretically for just a year, for 2 first-round picks, nonetheless, to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And a fourth.
I mean, I think it's a gamble. It could go really well either way, theoretically. I think that it's good that he just got out of there. I think it's good that out of there
because immediately no.
Because he lied about an injury at Jacksonville. He didn't want to play there.
Yeah, he was tired. Yeah, his back was hurting because he was carrying the team on his back, right?
And I think if he plays for a team that he wants to play for, that he actually would care to play for,
right,
then I think it would be fantastic for the Rams. The problem is that their offense is looking like hard garbage right now.
Remember like 2 years ago, Jalen Ramsey just calls out every quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah,
it's like, we're the best defense ever. We're going to the Super Bowl next year. Blake Bortles is good, and then Blake Bortles is a backup in the Rams for the Rams now. He's out of Jacksonville. Jacksonville's terrible, and it's Dick Foles isn't even on. It's just everything a disaster. I think it's hilarious how immediately people go, "Wow, that really did not age well." That entire article just calling out everybody. Mike, same question to you. Thoughts on the Ramsey trade, and do you think anybody else gets moved before the deadline?
I would say for the Rams, I think it was actually a very bad trade.
Now, just to preface this, 5 years in a row if they don't trade back in the first round without a first round pick.
That's what I mean.
5 years.
And they went a previous 6 years without a first round pick.
5 years.
That means they're going to go a total of 11 but besides the golf pick,
right,
you're going to have a 10-year span of no first round picks.
Well, Gurley was a first round pick.
Was he?
Mm-hmm.
How long ago?
The year before that. The year before golf.
Was he? Mm-hmm. I saw an article that was like 5 years in a row without a first round pick, and now you have like 5 more.
Maybe they missed because Jeff Fisher's a retard.
Maybe. I would be shocked by that. God, I love Jeff Fisher. Wait, time out. Okay.
Sweet stash.
I think if I was the Rams, I wouldn't have done it only because you don't have the first round picks.
Yeah.
You just gave up 5 years.
You mortgage your future. 2020 and 2021.
So now. And they're in we're in the win now mode, and then next year they're going to have like 4 wins because everyone's going to have to leave because they don't have the money to pay all these guys because they just paid Goff $800 million to go play quarterback for them.
Yeah.
So I think for them it was a very bad move.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's 2 first round picks is a bad move for anybody.
Yeah.
I would
no kidding.
I think I would consider.
I'm trading 2 first round picks for Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady.
Not even now. I wouldn't because they're
I would.
a year or 2.
No, I would definitely. If I thought I was a one player, like if I was Minnesota a couple years ago before Cousins, and you could have traded for Brady or something. Then you're trading for that's in that scenario.
But that's a very
specific
scenario.
I'll find one to fit the narrative. Don't worry.
Besides those like very small scenarios that could happen, there's not a player. There's not a player out there that I would be like, oh, 2 first round picks for that guy because now you're kind of done for the next 2 years.
Thoughts on Jacksonville's on Jacksonville though? Do you like?
Jacksonville
because I think they
living high. Yeah. Jacksonville's like, oh, so cool. We got 2 extra first round picks and they're like good. They're like not good. They're okay enough to like stay relevant, and their division's not great either. They have Houston and
they could do a quick turnaround.
But they could do a quick turnaround with 2 or 3 first round picks next year to get some guys in there.
Yeah,
to really
2 and 2 the next 2 years. You really could.
And with Nick Foles, they're going to be in a 49ers situation where they don't really have a quarterback. They don't have Gardner Minshew's whatever. They don't have like all the pieces, but they get 2 or 3 more first round picks. They get all their team ready. Foles comes back next year.
Address the biggest need and go, I can do this and this. I have a luxury and I have where I need to hit the need. Right.
Yeah, and then you can get like say your receiver and your X Factor lineman or whatever, and then you can really build up and go next year and the year after. So I think they're in a great position.
No doubt.
And the Rams are kind of in a very rough, especially because they're in a rough division too.
Yeah, I mean the Niners are playing well. Russell Wilson's the MVP. I'm sorry, 17 touchdowns. I mean, good lord, he's phenomenal. I mean, my goodness. I've not always been the biggest Russell Wilson guy, but past like 3 years putting the team on the back.
Literally.
But you're right though, right? The Rams, I mean. You don't look good. Goff looks terrible. Yeah. Gurley does not look 100%.
Brandon Cooks, we were trying to get a fighting for him right now because no one knows where he's at.
Right, exactly. Right. And so and this defense is just meh. Akeem Talib's out, right? I get it. Marcus Peters is gone. Send him to Baltimore. That's a smart trade, I think. Baltimore's. I think that's a great move by Baltimore. Honestly, you give him whatever. You give him a linebacker. Sounds good because they paid him though. That's the reason why they don't get a lot for him. But now, if you're the Rams. Rams and you don't win it now, which you're not going to, spoiler alert, it's not happening, and you don't re-sign Ramsey, you just mortgage your future where you have a running back who's got a bad knee, you got a quarterback who can't throw anymore, and you've got an okay defense and no future.
Yeah.
No future. You know what I mean? Like, that's a scary, scary proposition to sell ownership, to be like, hey, by the way, we're going to this new stadium opening, and we're going to be hot garbage after this next little run here. You know what I mean? But we still got Jared Goff, so yay.
Yeah.
Crazy, crazy, crazy. Anybody you want to see, I know the Lions have been in on the Kenyon Drake thing. I know some people, not necessarily people of any sort of credentials, but people said that maybe they should get on the Vic Beasley sweepstakes if he's available, because he's got a big cap hit. Anybody, maybe Patrick Peterson. You know, I think I've heard rumblings that AJ Green, the Bengals say they're not trading AJ Green, but
oh god,
man, I've heard the Packers are in on that. If the Packers got AJ Green, freaking kill me, dude.
He only played 3 games.
I know, but he'll play against us and go off. But anybody at all that you're hearing that you would like to see, or maybe there's a position that you think the Lions should maybe try to swing a snacks trade kind of again, where they go like a low key that's kind of played some dividends.
I'm trying to think.
Maybe
no, they're not perfect. But they don't really have. I guess you could get a pass rusher. I don't think their D line. Their D line doesn't play. We're going to get to the quarterback.
Yeah, they're missing hands so bad.
Yeah, they just kind of contain and kill you. That's what they do to every team now.
Yeah. Well, their pass coverage has been phenomenal.
And their pass coverage is phenomenal. They have some of the better DBs.
Justin Coleman is playing out of
Coleman
his
Coleman
mind.
is a man.
Right. Like,
Slay's playing well.
Slay's playing Slay. Right?
And,
you can tell he's a little hampered right now.
Yeah, and Melvin is a very
underrated. I think he's underrated for what he's been doing. Yeah. I'm not going to lie, right? I know he got beat on the long throw on Monday night, but outside of that, I think Melvin really has played pretty darn well so far on it, considering he's on a 1-year deal. You know what I mean? But I'm with you. I think the only reason why the Lions are maybe in on this Kenyon Drake thing is because he's kind of I think he's kind of doing what McKissick is, but I think he's a better version of that. And I think they're looking for somebody who can be the Theo Riddick role to kind of jumpstart this run game a little bit. You know what I mean? Where Kerryon hasn't, I don't think Kerryon's been at his best yet. We're hoping to see that kind of on the upswing, but I don't know if there's a guy. I was been so high on the Patrick Peterson thing. I think if they traded,
if they got him,
if they got Pat Pete for a 4th, I'd be thrilled.
Oh my god, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm assuming that he's gonna go for like a 2nd or something.
If he gets traded, he may not get traded at all. But I've always been on that train just because I think Slay, Patrick Peterson at the end of his run, he's still pretty effective. I think he could easily kind of make a really good run with Coleman in the slot. I think that'd be some good stuff. All right, after the break, we are going to talk to my buddy, my friend, my confidant, Mr. Michigan man himself, Kyle Budzanowski's favorite topic, the University of Michigan against Penn State, their 28-21 loss. We're going to get all the analysis from that. We're going to talk some California State law and why maybe we might see one of our favorite video games finally be brought back because of it. And we're going to talk World Series action. All that after the break. Stick around. And welcome back to part 2 of episode, what we at, like 47, I think, right now? Something like that. Something crazy. I don't know.
You say it every time.
I know. I always forget, and I always get excited every time because we're almost at the 1-year anniversary.
Yeah.
You should make a cake.
Do you think I can make a cake?
You should make a cake.
I don't know.
We should make a cake because she's been
good
showing
at it
forever. She should make a cake.
Yeah, she should come on and we should sing like a song. We should sing I'm Always Right.
No, we should have her make a cake and then have her blow out the candles and we dunk her head in it like that. She ain't going to see this, so it's fine.
We'll get more views that way.
There you go, right? Yeah. Do it to your dad, maybe. That'd be funny. His head's really shiny. So maybe All right, let's jump right into the Michigan stuff. Michigan loses another Big Ten opponent. Another top 10 loss. Shocker, I know. 28-21. They tried to make it a game a little bit. Shea Patterson was like, haha, never mind. I'm not going to make it a game. Kyle, I'm going to start with you. You're a resident Michigan man. Talk to me, man. What the hell happened? What's going on?
I'm not that mad about the game. Not at all.
Now let me ask this then before you even go on. Are you not mad because you knew they were going to lose and your expectations, like mine, have already been dashed? Or are you somehow trying to do what I do with the Lions and see the silver lining out of all of it? At least I'm man enough to admit it, right? At least I can admit it.
I mean, I came in, I guess I had mixed with that. I came in expecting nothing because when, at least in the Harbaugh era, when they played a team that they weren't supposed to beat,
they don't.
They get like destroyed in like the first quarter and then just give up, and then you'd see their defense chasing people around for 3 quarters and Shea Patterson throwing wildly for 3 quarters, and that only happened for 2 quarters.
Oh, hey, all right.
But
5 years in, we're playing 2 good quarters.
2 good quarters. But after halftime, I saw the Michigan offense actually do something that I've never seen before, and that's move the ball. They moved the ball efficiently. Shea Patterson actually looked confident.
Oh, are you gonna say move the ball against a good team?
Right.
I mean, they're 5-2. I mean, it's not like they're 0-7.
That'd be funny.
Oh my gosh, I can't imagine.
But Shea Patterson, I get it. Ronnie Bell dropped it in the end zone when they could have tied it, but he also did get a 50-yard screen pass.
Yeah.
The drive before for a touchdown.
You gotta make plays, man.
I mean, he did drop it, but and same thing with their defense. Like they did give up the big plays, but I mean,
I'll say that 56-yard run when they tied it up. I was like, "Geez, guys, you guys are killing."
No, I watched the highlight reel and those like 3 big plays.
Yeah, it really was. That's the sad part.
And I get the idea of Don Brown is we're gonna like blitz you, and then we're gonna like make sure you can't you won't be able to throw it by the time we get there. Mm-hmm. But like if you're playing like soft coverage on KJ Hamler, and then you're just gonna basically watch him run by and hope that your lineman will get to them. Like it's like he got hurried a couple times. Yeah, he got sacked a couple times. Yeah, but I mean you're gonna have to put up 35 if you're gonna want to win. If that's gonna be your mindset. Right. They only gave up 80 yards in the second half, and Michigan had 400 yards total. But like. I mean, they did a lot more than I thought they would.
Well, and to your point, if you look at just statistically, you'd say, "Well, Michigan won the game." You don't look at the score. You know, you'd be like, "Oh, Michigan won the game," and then you look at it and you go, "Oh no, they lost by a touchdown," right? And I think this is the one difference this year compared to previous years of the Harbaugh era, as far as defensively, they didn't give up the big play before. Michigan's defense, really, the last couple of years, to their credit, doesn't give up the big play very often. Ohio State notwithstanding for a second. Everybody else, they really do force it. If you're going to score, you really got to chunk away at it. You really got to go 2nd and 4, you know what I mean, and really chunk away at it. Where this game, for whatever reason, they just could not stop themselves, right, from giving up the big play. Mike, same question to you. How you feeling after this loss? I know I've already kind of written them off. I didn't think they were going to win this game. So, I mean, what's your thought? Then I want to ask you something real quick, too, after the fact, too.
Oh, God.
That's what I'm asking.
That's what I'd love to hear. I'm going to ask you something we didn't talk about before. Well, we started off... I went into it going, we probably won't win this game.
Yeah.
I had a little bit of hope because the spread was only 7.5. It wasn't anything crazy.
Right, and I don't think Penn State has been overly impressive this year. I don't think they've done anything where I go, wow, Penn State is a juggernaut of a team.
Yeah. So I went in, I was like, I think we have a chance. And then I was actually working during the game, so I didn't watch the entire thing. And then a colleague of mine went, that's 21-0. And I went, so that's probably, that's what I expected. But then when you're looking at it, that second half was Shea Patterson's coming out party, because he actually played very well in that second half. Moving the ball up and down the field pretty well.
I have 2 questions, not one.
And the run game looked efficient, and they just still run the ball on 3rd and 1 right up the middle where the beef of their line is, and how that's where Penn State's really good is their D-line. They just run it right at them every time.
Right.
But besides that, I think they did really well, and they're a touchdown drop away from tying the game and saying overtime. You never know what happens in overtime.
Right.
I will say, the one decision, they missed like a 58-yard field goal. They put the wrong kicker in.
Yeah.
They know their wrong kicker.
I know.
Like is Nordine like the more accurate one, and Moody's the big kicker?
Well, no, what I thought
was the more accurate.
You would know.
To my knowledge, I thought Nordine was the long guy.
Was Nordine the long guy?
And Moody's the more accurate.
Yeah.
Because they put the more accurate dude in.
Right.
Because they said, they're like, this guy's usually just, they're more like,
we're 35, we're going to nail it.
We're going to nail it right down the middle.
Right.
And like the other, Moody or whatever, is the guy who can kick
less chance of making
75 yards.
it, but he can kick it a mile. He's Janikowski.
Yeah,
Right.
And I was like, you put the wrong one in.
Right.
Like, you're 58 yards away. It's not a chip shot. You got to like put your big kicker in there. And you put the wrong one in. That's like 3 points that you missed out that you maybe could have gotten.
Could have changed the momentum.
But I think they played very well. Second half they played well. The first half.
Let me ask you guys. This is my first question on Michigan. Then I want to talk about somebody else for just a quick second before we go. Otherwise, Thoughts? Let's just put it this way: Ohio State, right, came out and just beat the crap out of Northwestern, right? I mean, that was a disaster. But looking at that game in a vacuum for a second, though, Northwestern had some plays and some opportunities they just missed, right? And this is a long shot. I don't think it's going to happen if they beat Ohio State. Regardless of what happens the rest of the year, they lose to Notre Dame, whatever. They beat Ohio State somehow, some way. They pull it off. Is this season theoretically saved if they beat Ohio State? No? Okay, good. That's what I was hoping.
I've always...
Because some people will say that. Some people be like, as long as you beat Ohio State, I don't care, you go one and
here's, and I guess I'll switch and ask you then.
Yeah.
I think I've asked you before, though, is when you start this season, is 11-1 not beating Ohio State or 7-5 and beating Ohio State more successful?
Right.
That's like the big question. And everyone's just like, I want to beat Ohio State, but I'm like, if you go 7-5 and beat Ohio State,
great, you're playing in the Outback Bowl.
I know, you're not playing in anything. I'd rather go 11-1 and lose because at least you lost to the best team in the conference. And
no doubt.
So like, if you go out and I mean, you're not going to beat Ohio State. I'm sorry.
No, it's not happening. No, I agree. It's just more just a hypothetical.
But if you still beat Ohio State and you're 10-2, I'm like, it's a good season, but. At that point, if you beat Ohio State,
then you're pissed that you lost to Wisconsin.
You feel bad that you lost to Wisconsin, who just lost to Illinois, and Penn State. You should have beat with that catch. So I think I'd be more mad if that happened.
Are you in agreement with that? That it doesn't matter. I mean, they have 2 losses. Clearly, they're not going anywhere, right? Yeah. There's no college football playoff happening or anything like that. So I mean, is now your sole focus beating Ohio State? Is it just Michigan State? Like I don't want to deal with that for a whole year. Because
I think it. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, well, at the beginning of the season, I'd say I'm fine with losing just to them if we're going 11-1. But right now, you have no where you're going. It doesn't matter. Just beat Ohio State.
I do think halfway through the season, if you do have 2 losses, I think it does change though. Because I think beginning of the year. Mm-hmm. I think you 11-1 lose to Ohio State. It's like if that's the outcome that you're going to get out of the 2, that's the one you choose. Mm-hmm. But I think at this point, I think if you beat Ohio State, because now your goal of the season is to beat Ohio State because you can't go anywhere else.
Right.
So
you're going to go to wherever.
Yeah, you're going to go to whatever and play Florida in whatever bowl game you get because they always play Florida in every bowl game.
Yeah. So and with Michigan State, at this point, it shouldn't even be a rivalry. They're pretty garbage. So you should beat them. It shouldn't be like they're.
Okay. Real quick question before we go on to this California State law thing real quick. Thoughts on Wisconsin losing to Illinois? A, shocked. B, stunned. C, knew it was going to happen. Or D, Lovie Smith's beard is awesome.
Can I pick
all the above?
Choice? Oh, E, all the above. Okay. I was like, can I select more than one? Because I would say E, all the above.
But real quick though, does this impact their matchup against Ohio State now, though, at all? Or does that make it now where I'm almost like hoping Wisconsin now comes out and beats them because now it throws the whole Big Ten into a wacky situation?
Well, I actually think that Wisconsin almost didn't care about this game because they overlooked it for Ohio State.
Absolutely.
Because you could feel it. They went into halftime at 13-10, and you're like,
what is going on? Then they're going to pull away.
Yeah,
right.
Because I thought, Jonathan Tate, they weren't running it. They were almost trying stuff out in this game. All right, we're just going to throw it around, and if it came to it, we're just going to run it down their throat.
Yep.
And then in the third, fourth quarter, they couldn't run it down their throat, and they went,
oh crap,
what are we going to do now? They got you could sense the fourth quarter of urge of nervousness that they were like, if they scored again, I don't know, what are we going to do?
We're not going to score. Right, absolutely. I just thought that was an interesting kind of situation where you go, of course, Illinois would be the team.
But I do think Wisconsin has a good game plan for Ohio State. I do think it's going to be a game no matter what.
Ball possession. Yeah. Because Ohio State's offense right now, dude, you could put a 12-year-old back there at quarterback right now. Everyone's giving Justin Fields all this credit. Dude, the offensive scheme alone, guys are wide open. It doesn't take a genius to go, oh, he's open, let me throw him the ball. You know what I mean? This
Ohio
Wisconsin
State's first touchdown of the game. The guy was just sitting there.
Yeah.
He went, there you go.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me go through all my reads first. He's going to be open. Let's just see if I can make a more difficult throw. No, nothing else there. All right. Well, I guess I got to throw this bomb for a touchdown. Ridiculous. Okay. Let's talk about this California State law for a second here, though, because I want to talk about how the fact that California is the first. Oh, I guess hold on. Pause. We're at the Lions game live here, folks. So apologize.
Another field goal?
Did we miss the field goal?
No, it was false start. So now they're backing up to punt.
Oh, great.
Oh, that's good.
Cool. Great pause of the show. But this California State law for a second here. California passes a law that's going to allow college athletes to hire agents and to profit off of endorsements starting, I think, and I believe it's 2020. I could be wrong in the year. But this kind of throws a monkey wrench and has been something that I think the NCAA obviously is clearly pissed. But it is the first time that we've seen something like this happen where the state has kind of came in and just said no. Now, I know already this is going to have a massive effect on recruiting, right? Especially a lot of because you can't go one and done, and these kids are like, I need to get to the pros to support my family. This is the only way it's happening. So obviously, I think California, UCLA, those kind of teams, USC, obviously, gonna benefit greatly from recruiting. Yeah. But I want to get your guys' take on what does this mean for the NCAA as a whole, because I think that what this is going to do is it's going to, first off, California is the first state to go. I think more states are going to follow later on. But I also think that what's going to wind up happening is you're going to see more and more states not only join this, but are going to almost go, no, this is happening, and they're going to have to do this in order to maintain competitiveness throughout, right? Like I'm expecting Alabama to join right up on this, right? If they lose another national championship, Clemson, those kinds of teams in these states are probably going to go like, listen, we make a crap ton of money. We need to get this kind of program in there. If you're the NCAA, do you get ahead of it and just go, all right, maybe we have to reform some things, or are you going to fight the good fight until it's just kind of like,
I think they're kind of screwed at this point because I think everyone's just going to go, okay, so we're going to switch right now, and everyone's going to do it, and there's going to be no way to go. Can we talk about it first?
Mm-hmm.
It's good. Everyone's just gonna do it because you're gonna see this upcoming recruiting class. USC is gonna probably be ranked near the top because USC is a good school to go to. Nonetheless, without this rule, now you have this rule. Now you're like, good luck with that.
Right.
So I think that's gonna benefit teams like Ohio State are gonna be like, we need this because we're already the number one. So let's get everyone in here. So I think it's going to be the next probably year or two.
Right.
Probably everybody's going to have it.
Right.
And at that point, there's nothing they just have to.
Kyle, do you think it's about time that this kind of change happens? Right. I mean, we lost NCAA video games specifically for this, right?
14.
Yeah. Right. So do you think that this reform that could be potentially upcoming? Do you think it's about time? And it's about time that there's always the argument, well, they're getting free education, yada yada yada, but they're making so much money for these schools, so much money, right? You mean to tell me right now that when Charles Woodson was in school, they weren't selling number 2 jerseys without the back of his name on there?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, everybody knows who it is and what the purpose is. Do you think it's about time that they do this, or are you a negative Nancy on the NCAA side?
Well, I mean, in my opinion, I don't think they should be paid because they're getting all this stuff. But I see where it's coming from. I understand why it's happening. I mean, obviously, it was like you said with the jerseys. Like if LeBron went to college, blah blah, all his jersey stuff. He was kind of like the big advocate for this.
Oh, clearly.
But I think regardless of whose views are on it, it's just a bound to happen thing. With just how the generation is.
But I think it's about time. And let's just think, they're not getting paid to play. That's not what this law is, right? I think people need to understand that. We're not paying you to come to our school, which, by the way, is happening already, let's be clear. But just no one likes to talk about it. But it's having the ability to go, hey, listen, we're going to sell a number 1 jersey for Justin Fields, but you don't get any money for that, right? And now Justin Fields can go, no, I want money for that, right? Like, you're using my jersey number, insinuating that that's my jersey, and yet I'm not getting paid for it. That's not right. You know what I mean? Like, there should be a cut of that going to the player if you are profiting specifically from the player. Now, you know what I mean? Like, left tackle, whoever, isn't going to get paid because they're not selling left tackle's jersey. They're not using. But if EA wants to come back out with an NCAA 2021 or whatever the game is, which will be exactly like Madden, but whatever. And then you kind of go in. I hope so. But point being, right, is that you're using the likenesses, you're using the numbers, and saying this person plays left tackle at Michigan or Ohio State or Michigan State. I should be compensated for that. If I play left tackle and you're using my number and I play in that spot, that's me.
Yeah.
You're saying that's me. You can say LT number 76 all you want, but that's me. You know what I mean? Like, that's what they always. It's always funny to me, right? Like, I remember when the old games where you create a guy in NCAA and your name would actually show up. Everybody else is just running back 1, running back 2. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It kills it. It's just something to think about. It's something that we're gonna follow, obviously, because I think it really could change the way recruiting is done, and I think honestly it could maybe almost in the meantime could create another power in especially college football because. You have to stay there for so many years, right? Not like basketball, it's one and done, it doesn't matter. But some of these guys should just sit there and go, oh, well, I can get paid if I go to California or I can go to Michigan. I'm not going to Michigan. It's cold there. I'm not getting paid. I can go to USC, and I can make money off of my jersey because I'm a wide receiver and I'm the number 1 recruit in the country. Sold. You know what I mean? So it should be a fun time. All right, let's talk last thing here. Let's talk the World Series. We've got the Washington Nationals versus the Houston Astros. Kyle's bummed out.
I haven't
watch this single game.
That's okay, Kyle.
It's so
it's
depressing.
okay.
It's been good.
It's okay.
Mike,
the ALCS has been awesome.
Mike, let's talk about the elephant in the room for a second there. Max Scherzer playing out the Nationals, Justin Verlander now, and another World Series with the Astros.
It's gonna be awesome.
I think it's hilarious.
They have to
go 1-1.
They have to.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Game 7, throw them up against each other.
Yep.
Cry tears.
Right. Well, honestly though, you don't even know. It could be Verlander, it could be Greinke. They have a lot of talent.
That pitching is.
Yeah. All right. So let's just go over here. Let's talk about a little bit the irony about how the fact that the Nationals, after getting rid of Bryce Harper, are now in the World Series. Who do you like? Who don't you like? What's your prediction? You've watched more baseball, I think, in the past couple weeks than I think I have in 4 years. So I'm familiar with what's going on, but give me, because you watch these playoffs in depth, you get really into baseball right when the postseason hits.
I'm a postseason sports watcher.
Well, I can't watch all 180 whatever.
No one can.
It's rough.
No.
So
162.
Whatever. Exactly. That's.
I mean, I don't even watch every NFL game. There's only
I know,
16 on a week.
Right. Exactly. So who do you got, and who wins the MVP?
Ooh, that's a good question, actually.
Who wins the MVP?
I'm gonna go back to that, I guess.
I'm gonna say Astros just because.
I'm gonna go Astros. I agree with that. Yeah. I think when you look at football, it's like when you have like the Patriots and Rams, you're like. It's like the Patriots.
The Rams on paper look better.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But like I'm like
Astros
are just so much better.
Yeah,
you got their 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is
and they're starting pitching.
You got Cole in there who's literally lights out in this whole postseason. Yep. Then you got Verlander who can't miss any throw in the entire postseason so far, and they're back. Yeah, and Greinke, and their bullpen, they can pull anybody out, and they're like, okay, so you're gonna close the game for us, cool. All right, thanks.
Tigers like we didn't have that.
Tigers like we didn't even have that.
With the wall.
So, I think all around, I wouldn't be shocked in a sports realm to see the Cinderella story of the Nationals never being there, doing the
get rid of their biggest player ever outside of Strasburg and finally win it.
Yeah. That'd be an awesome story, but if I was like, all right, I'm going to bet right now who wins it, it's going to be Astros, and I'm going to go, I'll go Cole as the MVP, playing through 2 games, and...
I know a lot of people would say Altuve just because he won the ALCS MVP.
Yeah.
So I was
if they give it to, one of the outfield or the batters or whatever, I'd give it to Altuve, the defenseman, I guess you call it. But if you're going to give it to a pitcher, I'd probably go Cole, because that probably is going to go through 2 games at least. And
that's the thing. It's like you've got so many number 1 ace players on your rotation. Yeah. It's like, who wants to start number 1? Who cares? We're winning all 3 games anyway. It doesn't even matter.
Exactly. That's where the Yankees ran into it. It's like, which game can we win? Like, you have to pull 1 or 2 out from your aces you have to beat the other guys. Right. Like, that's what the Nationals are looking at. The Nationals have Scherzer, and then you have Scherzer.
Anibal Sanchez.
I guess. Yeah, he is.
Right? Yeah.
But Scherzer's your 1 ace, so you got maybe 2 games out of him. But if he goes up against Cole or Verlander, that's not even a guarantee.
If you get down a 3-1 hole, and then you got to pull Scherzer out on short rest to get him there. Say you win that 3-2. Now who do you go to?
Exactly.
Game 6.
And then go to Game 7.
That's where you're screwed. Is those last couple games where you go, crap, we already had to pull Scherzer out twice to save the series. Now where do we go to end it? I just think it's crazy to me. And I think once again we've said this the last couple weeks where you're really going to start seeing teams really not wanting to invest big money in big free agents, because you're looking at these teams like Houston has been very selective in who they traded for. Verlander, huge deal. Greinke, huge deal. But very specific pieces that they're going, okay, this is going to put us over the top to get us a championship, but we're not going out for agency and signing all these guys. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's extremely interesting. It's extremely, it's fascinating, honestly, because teams like the Phillies who thought, man, we got this. Like, we just signed, Bryce Harper. We're a younger team. We're up and coming. It's going to put us over the top, and we're 500. You know what I mean? So it's a crazy kind of turn of events, which makes me laugh a little bit, because it's always funny to see the guys who are like, I got paid though, so I'm not that mad about it. You know what I mean? Yeah, fair. And then there's the Tigers. We got the first overall pick.
Hey, that's
Wow.
bonus.
Go team? Go team, right? No?
We'll get another pitcher.
Man, we'll be 5 years down the road. We'll be talking about, man, so this second rebuild is going to be...
Honestly, amazing. But we hopefully are going to be talking about the Astros in a week.
Oh my
About how they're
gosh.
going to win the first 3 games.
there you go.
We did our
Tuesday,
predictions. I
Thursday.
predicted the Astros.
That's because you only knew who the Astros were. You know who
Okay.
like 4 teams are. You know the Yankees, Red Sox, Tigers, Astros.
Dodgers.
Besides Kershaw, name one player.
Pedersen, whatever his name is.
Okay, that's fair. That's close enough.
The dude with the big beard. I don't know his name.
Oh yeah, the big beard. All right, we
Yeah,
got it.
I-
All right, let's wrap this show. All
Yeah,
right,
that's embarrassing.
for the Michigan man, for the Merc Zone, I'm the Mouth of Michigan, and we will see you guys as always next time.